Maureen has the next question.
The potential 38% cuts to community groups in the inner city. They have been looking for the rational allocation model from you, and also would welcome an opportunity, as you know, to discuss their concerns with you, which are causing a lot of stress and distress.
I thank the Deputy for raising this issue. I know she's spoken about it previously, and it is a concern, and I accept that. Within the constraints of the prevailing budgetary situation, I've been particularly conscious of the need to prioritise funding for the local and community development programme until March 2015, and for its successor, the Social Inclusion and Community Activation Programme, from April 2015. I think that was a necessity to do that, and I welcome doing that. My aim is to ensure that resources are allocated in the fairest way possible and to make the maximum contribution to tackling disadvantaged job creation and economic recovery. My department intention is over time to use the available knowledge of population levels and disadvantage to ensure that available resources are targeted at areas of greatest need. As a tool to assist this, the Resource Allocation Model, or RAM, which will be made available, has been developed, which allows relative disadvantage to be measured across all census areas. In order to achieve the objective of moving towards allocating resources according to this model, my department has in recent years worked to ensure that funding is protected for those areas which the RAM model shows have greatest need. This principle was used in deciding on funding allocation for SICAP, and I am satisfied that the funding allocated to Dublin Inner City under SICAP is a fair allocation of resources for the area concerned, using the model as appropriate. The funding reduction referred to has to be seen in the context of a number of specific factors which apply to the Dublin Inner City funding arrangements under the current programme. In particular, the Community Development Programme funding model was not based on population and deprivation levels as is proposed for SICAP, instead providing funding for 2 staff on average and overheads in each project. In addition, the fact that there was no local development company in the inner city, Deputy, gave rise to a higher number of separate structures and associated costs relative to other areas, creating scope for efficiency savings to be made in the new arrangements under SICAP. Notwithstanding that, though, Deputy, because this is a concern, I know, my department will be liaising with Dublin City Council and other appropriate stakeholders to find a workable solution in terms of transitional arrangements that may be required in the specific circumstances arising in the inner city. In the meantime, LCDP funding for the groups concerned will continue until the end of March 2015.
Thank you, Minister. Just one supplementary, please.
Told that in the period January to April there's going to be a 6-point-something cut as well. I really think it's important that you could meet these groups, that you could listen to their concerns, because the statistics are there. There's the highest number of unemployed people, highest number of lone parents, etc. And I'm not sure that this allocation model that you're talking about is really getting to the core of all of the issues. And I'll just tell you one story. I was at a project, graduation recently, when they were giving out certs to people who had done training. Some of the graduates couldn't be there. Why? Because they were in work. So that's showing how these projects in communities are working, and I would love you to take the opportunity, even for a short period of time, to just hear about that work, because sometimes those organisations, those individuals get lost in the percentages and in the models, etc., that you're talking about. So I'm just asking that, will they get the models soon, and are you prepared to meet them?
Thank you. Final reply, Mr.
Deputy, I've already confirmed to this House I'm prepared to meet them. There's no issue there. Just agreed a time when we can do so. I want to commit to this, Deputy. The process that's been gone through, it has to be gone through. It's begun and it's necessary under under the tendering and needs to be executed. But I'm determined to ensure that a fair solution to the issues which have been raised by a number of deputies in this House will be found through the SICAP model or through whatever necessity of measures that need to be taken in parallel with that as well. Getting into the detail of that here wouldn't be possible, but I want to assure you directly that I will be keeping a close eye on this to ensure that there is a fair distribution going forward as well.
Come on, that concludes question time.